This week is, Halloween week. So sugar is everywhere. Sugar is, as we know, it's not good for us. In fact, it's been associated with all the top causes of death, and yet it's still consumed on a massive level every single day. This chemical is addicting and it is a drug. It is. And kids on Halloween actually consume an average of 3 to 4 cups of sugar just on this day, which is like, 16 to 20 times the daily recommendation of sugar. Why are we giving away poison to our children? Candy, candy, and more candy. It's everywhere. I'm all about sugar if it comes from, whole fruits, as in the form of fructose, but not in the processed sugar. I think we need to hand out something healthy instead. What do you think? Have you ever handed out something healthy during this time of year?
You're listening to the Visibly Fit podcast. Hey, I'm your host, Wendie Pett, and every week I'll give you holistic, practical solutions for everyday issues related to nutrition, healing, functional fitness, and behavior modifications. As a naturopath, fitness expert, and wellness coach for over 20 years, my goal is to empower you to reach for greater health and to rise up to your next level of living in mind, body, and spirit. You were created with greatness in mind. It's time to own it. Are you with me? Then let's dive in.
Hello, and welcome to the Visibly Fit podcast. I'm your host, Wendie Pett. Hope you're doing amazing. We are just coming right into the holiday and festival season, aren't we? Oh my goodness. How are you doing with all of it? This week, if you're listening live, is the week of harvest celebrations or Halloween, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to get into all the details of the history of holidays and if it's pagan or Christian. I'm just not going to go there. But what I am going to get into is about all the ways in which we tend to celebrate these festivals and holidays and how is it affecting your health. That's what we're going to talk about. And to give you some strategies so that you don't gain weight during this holiday season and you don't put yourself in jeopardy and set yourself up for getting sick this time of year. So often people are getting sick because they're eating a lot more sugar. They're not getting as much exercise. They're stressing more. They're not getting as much vitamin D. You name it. They are not taking good care of their body. So I want to jump right in and talk about, again, if you're listening live time, this week is, Halloween week. So sugar is everywhere. I think about how, we give away candy when kids come to the door. And I think, why are we giving away poison to our children? Candy, candy, and more candy. It's everywhere. And, you buy the bags, probably like those little bite-size, whatever, Twix or bite-size this, bite-size that. And you probably are like, oh, hey, I'll just have a bite because it's a bite size. It won't hurt anything. But then you end up having another one because, hey, it's only bite size. Pretty soon you've had a king size candy bar without realizing it over time. So my suggestion is don't bring any of that into the house. Please don't give it to the kids that come to the door. But, give them something. But let's give them something that's on more of the nutritious side. Because if you don't give them something, they're going to egg your house. Let's get real. I'm just kidding. Hopefully they won't. But we want to give them something that is going to be a benefit for them. And so maybe it's like a box of raisins, or maybe it's like a little cutie, like a little orange cutie, and you can draw like a jack-o'-lantern face on there with a black marker. There's all kinds of cute ideas and things that you can do that would be awesome for kids that come to the door. Or it doesn't even have to be food. It can be something that they could use, like pencils or whatever for school that are super cute. So they get creative, because I think about this time especially, Americans purchase nearly 600 million pounds. You heard that right. 600 million pounds of candy a year. Okay. That's 90 million pounds of that number is actually in chocolate. So we know chocolate is usually the favorite of candies, but that's 90 million pounds out of the 600 million in a year. Okay. And that 90 million pounds is sold for this one holiday alone, right? October 31st, this festival. And again, I'm not going to get into the holiday. I know I'm not a big fan personally of us celebrating the dead. Okay. I'm just going to go right there. But I'm not going to get into that. I said I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to talk about sugar and how can we avoid all this sugar that is coming into our home or just kind of getting caught up in the holiday and what we're supposed to hand out as opposed to what we can really do and make an impact. Sugar is, as we know, it's not good for us. In fact, it's been associated with all the top causes of death, and yet it's still consumed on a massive level every single day, in the tune of actually 150 to 200 pounds of sugar per person each year on average. That's a lot of sugar, okay? 150 to 200 pounds of sugar that each person is consuming. I mean, I know you're not sitting around eating Twix candy bars. I don't know why I keep saying Twix. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I remember Twix as a kid, but anyway, it's coming to my mind. So Twix, Milk Duds. I'm trying to think of all the ones. But you're consuming sugar, whether it's in cakes or cookies or candy, whatever it is. This chemical is addicting and it is a drug. It is. And kids on Halloween actually consume an average of 3 to 4 cups of sugar just on this day, which is like, I don't know, 16 to 20 times the daily recommendation of sugar. I don't know that there should be much of a recommendation of sugar, but still, kids are consuming 4 to 5 times the recommended amount. That's a lot. And I'm sure like teachers the next day are like, what is going on with my classroom? Kids are probably bouncing all over up and down all around the classroom and they're not focused. And yeah, it's a problem. The government actually says, I know, I hear you, but the government says that 10% of our daily calories should, this is the word that they use, should come from sugar. Now, I'm all about sugar if it comes from, whole fruits, as in the form of fructose, but not in the processed sugar. So I think we need to hand out something healthy instead. What do you think? What do you think? Have you ever handed out something healthy during this time of year? I have, and it's actually gone really well. So you might surprise yourself and your neighborhood kids when you get a little creativity going, and maybe you'll start a trend. Maybe you will start a trend. So I'm curious to hear what maybe you've done in the past or what you're thinking of doing this year that would be a little bit different and not poisoning our children that come to the door. But let's talk a little bit about strategy, because this is not the only, festival or holiday that's in the midst of us. We've got, Thanksgiving, which is a biggie. We've got Christmas. We've got New Year. The New Year holiday is also one that I kind of wrap in there because a lot of people overconsume alcohol and other, appetizers and that kind of thing. So I'm going to bring that in there as well. But the biggest way to avoid gaining weight and poisoning your body is to plan ahead. Like really know what you're getting yourself into. Like when you have an event or something to attend, and there's going to be a meal there, find out what the meal is going to be and see if you can avoid overindulging if it's not a healthy meal, but maybe you want to eat before you go. I know that doesn't sound real, quote unquote, fun, but what's more fun? Eating before you go or getting poisoned, basically, by eating unhealthy, maybe processed foods or overconsumption of sugar or whatever it might be. So you get to make a choice. And so I really want to encourage you to be conscious and to rewire the way in which you're usually programmed to go about this time of year. Because a lot of times people are like, you know what? It's the holidays. I'll start, January 1st, right? Everybody's got that New Year resolution. I'll start then. Well, why? Why start then? Why not just do what you deserve to do and take good care of this body that is a gift. It's a gift that houses the Holy Spirit. So let's just avoid all the toxins and let's keep your immune system in a good place so that it doesn't get compromised and you don't get sick during this time as well. So plan ahead. That's a big one. Another thing is make sure you stay active during this time. This is important. A lot of people kind of skip out on their workouts because they're busy with, other activities, but make yourself your most important appointment. You are that important. You really are. And this could be just as simple as taking a walk after your meals or, there's actually a lot of holiday themed activities like ice skating or hiking, or even there's a lot of races, like even on Thanksgiving, there's a run, right? I can't even think the trot, the turkey trot. There's different ones that you could get involved in and start training for. So those are things that you could start keeping front of mind and stay active and pin yourself in on your calendar as one of your most important appointments. But seriously, I know the weather is probably a lot colder than it was before. Because it is. It's fall going into winter and it's getting darker. So you don't, maybe feel like getting outside as much. But I promise if you dress for the occasion and get out there, you will be like, oh my gosh, I'm glad I did this. But it's just kind of that initial doing it, right? So get uncomfortable just for a moment, and then you'll be comfortable going through your workout routine, whether it's walking, running, or whatever the case may be in your where you live. But then you get back and you're like, gosh, okay, I'm so glad I did that. And so, give yourself that push that you need. Okay. Now, another thing is portion control. When you go to different events, get a small plate instead of a big plate. I think about eating in order. And what does that mean? It means eating more like vegetables first, and then maybe some lean protein, like maybe there's some beans, or there's I don't know, maybe there's broccoli. Broccoli's got some good protein in it. I'm trying to steer you away from meat, but if you are a meat eater, definitely go for more of the lean meats, but definitely veggies, like overindulge in all the veggies that you can to fill yourself up and to feel satisfied and get a lot of the nutrients that your body really does want to have. And then maybe if there's some fruit there, or I'm sure they're going to have lots of temptation. So I don't want you to feel deprived. So maybe just have one, or maybe just have a bite of one of those treats. But just that controlling the portion control and controlling what you reach for is going to be so important. I would also be so bold to say, don't hang out in the kitchen. A lot of times, women especially, we like to hang out in the kitchen and chit chat and stand around and just mindlessly eat. And that's a recipe for disaster. That's going to cause you to consume a lot more calories than if you actually just put a little small plate together and then you went and sat in the other room and had a nice conversation with the people that are at the gathering. So being cognizant of that is a big deal. So definitely eat in order, and that way you'll feel more full and less likely to indulge in less nutritious foods. Another one is really drink lots of water during this time. You may not be sweating as much because it's not summer, right? So you have to work harder to get a sweat on. And so maybe you don't feel like drinking water, but man, your body needs water. It's over 70% water. Each cell is made of over 70% water. And so we need water to replenish in order for our bodies to optimally function, right? So if you're thirsty, reach for water instead of something else, because a lot of times people may go for a caffeinated drink, and that's going to cause your body to, it's a diuretic, right? Caffeine is. So you're going to be depleted of water. So make sure you go after the water. And maybe you think you're hungry, but really you're just thirsty. And so instead of going right to snacking, drink a glass of water first and then see if you're hungry. Okay. So that would be a good rule of thumb always to do. Another thing during this time, I mentioned it a minute ago, but alcohol is a big thing. Like everybody wants to celebrate and get into this mood and okay, but there's a lot of incredible non-alcoholic drinks out there. And so if you feel like you need alcohol to be included, you don't. That's a lie. You don't. If you feel like you need alcohol to um, kind of come out of your shell or whatever lie you've kind of told yourself, I'm more fun when I drink alcohol. No, that's not true. In the interim, right? Or in the long run. No, it's not true. So maybe get a fun non-alcoholic drink. There's so many that are mushroom based right now. And so that will activate your brain. It will be healthier, obviously, for your cells at the cellular level. They're low sugar. Something like that they're more like nootropics. And so that could be something that would be a good replacement for alcohol, and it's going to be a lot less in calories. So that's kind of my thought there. Just limit that alcohol or don't drink at all. That would be the best bet. Because there's so many calories that are consumed just by beverages alone. And so just being aware of that is very important. Also during this time, I mentioned that a lot of times we're in the kitchen and we're just chit-chatting with our friends and we're not realizing what we're eating. We need to be mindful. Just eat slowly, savor each and every bite. Like actually take a bite, put your fork down and just wait a moment. Or, don't just keep taking a chip and dipping it into the hot sauce or whatever it is, and the next chip. No, just pause. Because this not only enhances your enjoyment of the food, but it also allows your body to kind of have that signal, because it takes a while for your stomach to tell your brain, hey, I'm full. So give yourself that moment, okay? Give yourself the space and actually enjoy and savor the foods. Again, going to these gatherings, these holiday events, it's not about the food, it's about the gathering, it's about the people, it's about the community. And so just enjoying company without the obsession with the food is so freeing. And so I really want to encourage you to be mindful of that. Again, you might need to eat before you go. I really highly recommend that. A lot of times people during this time too, they tend to skip meals because they think, oh, I'm just going to skip lunch because I've got this event and I want to make sure I don't eat, overindulge in this day as far as calories are concerned. But you end up typically eating more than if you wouldn't have skipped meals to begin with, because you get there and you just have this extreme hunger and you overeat. So don't skip meals unless you are called to do a fast or something like that. Stick to your regular meal times and include healthy snacks if needed. Okay. But yeah, don't skip meals because it will set you up to overeat later. Okay. Also during this time, you want to make sure that you are kind of having a check with yourself. Like, am I setting realistic goals? Because it's okay to enjoy. It's okay to have a treat every now and then, right? But again, moderation kills momentum. So depending on your goals and knowing your personality, you've got to know yourself well enough to say, okay, is this going to cause me, if I eat this treat, is this going to tempt me so much that I'm going to continue to eat these treats, or is this a one and done? You've got to set realistic goals. You have to know yourself well enough in order to get to that end result that you really do desire and deserve to have. So what is that? Ask yourself, write it down, write down the vision of how you see these next 3 months playing out and have a plan in place. Draw a line in the sand and tell yourself, okay, if someone asks me if I want this to eat, I'm just saying no, thank you. Or bring your own dish so that you do have something healthy to eat. There's no excuses, right? Like, I think a lot of times we put our health into other people's hands, and that becomes the excuse of, oh, well, they didn't have anything for me. Well, no, it's really on you. because again, eat before you go or take something with you. That way you do know you have something that you can eat and you're not putting the blame on somebody else. Okay. Because that's not taking ownership of your own health. So take something with you. It's not a big deal. In fact, most people would welcome that. And then that way, again, you know, you have something to enjoy while you're at the party. Another thing is really taking those moments to just take a time out, if you will, because it can be a stressful time with all of the busyness. Not only are you probably maybe bombarded with some work and year end kind of goals, trying to accomplish things there, but you've got extra busy agendas, activities that are on your schedule with family and friends, and it just becomes overwhelming. So you get stressed. So I want to invite you to just kind of take a pause, like an intentional pause, and just breathe. Just breathe. Sometimes, especially during this time of year, you're just kind of in this place of taking shallow breaths. You're not taking big inhales and getting your lungs filled with good quality oxygen and fueling your body with the oxygen that it needs to fully function optimally. So you're kind of just always shallow breathing, right? Give yourself several times a day to kind of have a checkpoint and do some deep breathing. I promise you're going to get more energy. You're actually going to be able to, it helps with detoxification. It helps to, with that detoxification, you will release some calories and burn some calories is what I'm trying to say with breathing. And you're going to feel less stressed. You're going to regulate your blood blood pressure, and you're just going to feel better overall. So definitely take the time to do some deep breathing and give yourself that space, because again, we can get so caught up in everything that's on our calendar that by the time we get to the point of, oh my gosh, I just need a moment, it's time for bed. And then that's your moment. And then guess what? You're getting up and you're doing it all over again. So intentionally having those moments on your calendar, maybe it's even, you've got an alarm on your phone that says, hey, breathe. That's okay. Do it. There's a couple apps out there actually that even the Apple Watch has a breathing or kind of a mindset kind of a moment. I think it goes for about a minute, and I think you can change the time frame on that maybe to a minute to 90 seconds to 2 minutes. I'm not certain, but you can program that either on your smartphone or on your Apple Watch to do that several times a day, just to kind of get your attention and to get that as a habit and get that established into your days, especially during this season. So important. Another thing is to really have support during this time. If we don't have support, it's so easy just to fall off the rails because, hey, nobody else knows about what we're trying to accomplish, right? Or nobody else knows that I didn't want to eat that, or I wanted to move my body and do certain workouts this week, but I didn't. And anyway, it's called accountability, right? When you share your goals with friends and family, they will support you. Most people, right? But go to the ones that you know will support you, because having that support system, it will help you stay accountable and motivated. And sometimes that's what we need. We just need to tell somebody so that we're motivated to keep on keeping on. Okay. You don't have to go at it alone. You don't have to feel like, ooh, my health goals are a secret. And because I think when we do that, it's almost giving ourselves permission to fail, because, hey, nobody else knows about it. So if you don't meet the goal, or if you don't abide by the goals and the plan that you have in place, oh, well, no big deal. But no, if you are serious about your health and if you really want to make changes, tell people about it and put that plan in place. Pass it out to your friends and family and say, this is what I'm doing. If you see me reaching for a cookie, slap my hand, whatever. Give people permission to keep you on track, because this is what it takes sometimes, and that's okay. We need that accountability, especially in the beginning. But most importantly, we just need to stay motivated And when we are motivated by keeping our why in front of us, our why do we want to eat healthy and well? So we don't have to, you know, have a New Year resolution each and every year. No, we want to get off the hamster wheel, right? And start living a lifestyle that really does honor God, and it helps you with living a better quality life. And so that's it. That's why, right? But you've got to implement strategies. You can enjoy the holiday season. You really can, while maintaining your health and your well-being, but you have to have a plan. You have to have strategies, and we're all different. Some of us can go to holiday gatherings or festivals, and none of it is tempting. None of it. So kudos to you. That's awesome. But maybe while you're home and you're on the couch and there's a fire going and you're all snuggled up, then maybe that's your moment. And you need to have a strategy in that moment. So know yourself well, know when you need a plan, already have the plan in place, and don't bring things into your home that are going to be tempting. Don't stand around the kitchen table with all the treats and all the temptations at a gathering and a party if you know, ooh, that's going to be too much for me. I can't handle that. Don't do it. Don't set yourself up for that type of stress. It really is stress, right? Instead, go where it's easier, you can flow better, and that's when you have again that plan in place. You're going to be able to have greater success. So I want to encourage you, because you can do it. Again, eating in order will help to fill your body with the right nutrients, the right phytochemicals and phytonutrients, where you feel satisfied and full, so that you wouldn't even really want to reach for maybe a sugary treat or something that's really high fat or high calorie. You'll be satisfied and you'll say, you know what? I don't even need that. And the more you do that, the more you practice, the easier it gets. Practice makes permanent. So you can do it. I'm here for you. I'm rooting for you, but I just wanted to bring that up because this is the season. And I just want you to know that you are worthy. You're worthy of making healthy choices each and every time. You can do it. Now, if you don't, there is no shame. There is no condemnation. Okay. But I want you to know that you just get right back on the horse. You get right back on, you get right back on track, and you keep going. Like if you make a poor choice, it doesn't mean that, oh, well, these 3 months, I guess I'll just eat whatever I want then, and I'll start, on that New Year resolution like I do every year, and then stop it after 2 weeks. No, we want to stop that cycle. So just keep on keeping on, but you need to have some accountability. That is going to be a big piece of the equation for success. And also, this year, I don't know how present you are, but actually, my husband said something the other day. He stepped outside to do something. And he said, "You know what? I actually felt really present in this moment. And I haven't felt that way in a long time." And I'm like, "Really?" And I said, "Well, what got you there?" He said, "I don't know. I just decided I really want to be here in this moment." And he said, "I was listening to the birds chirp, and I was listening to, I don't know, the wind rustle the leaves and the trees." And he said, "I just felt very present, and it was beautiful." And I think, how often are we missing God's beauty, the moment that God has for us, because we are not present and we're not in the moment? So that means this holiday month, November, December, January, each and every day, quite frankly, but I'm just talking about the holidays. We need to be present. And really, God will speak to us in a new way when we are present. So I want to encourage you, and I want to invite you to find those moments where you can just be present. And what does that look like? How does that feel? Start to journal that, because I think that you might be surprised in those present moments where everything feels like time stops. You know what I'm saying? Like we're so bombarded with information and people trying to get our attention and advertising. And, if you have little kids or maybe you've got, older parents that need your help. Anyway, we're all in a different season and everyone's clamoring for our attention. Well, what if we just sat with the one and only that deserves our attention? And that's the Lord, right? Like, what if we just sat with him with great, just having just this beautiful presence? How would your life look different? What would maybe you hear that you haven't heard in a long time? Yeah. I want to encourage you to carve out, even if it's 60 seconds, 90 seconds, just to be present. I know it's a lot of things to put on your phone to remind you to drink water, remind you to be present, remind you to breathe. But sometimes we need the reminders, right? So remind yourself as much as possible until it becomes more of a routine and a habit. And I promise you're going to feel so much better when you do. Yes, an alarm to move that body, an alarm to make sure you eat and you don't skip meals. Yes, we have to have little alarms until it becomes truly a habit. All right. I hope you're a little bit encouraged and that you have some, maybe your mind is like, yeah, what's going to be my strategy? What's my plan? And how can I implement these strategies so I have the best holiday season ever and not feeling tempted, not feeling like I've gained, 5 to 10 pounds. That's kind of on average of what people are gaining during this time. How can I go about this differently this year? What's your game plan? I'd love to hear from you. Make sure you leave a comment. Leave a comment on YouTube or on any other social media platform. Let's dialogue about this because I know that your plan might help somebody else. So we're all creative in different ways. So would love to hear your creative ideas on how you're going to make it work. All right. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Visibly Fit. I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing this podcast. Thanks for giving it a rating and a review. And I just want to remind you that I believe in you. And if you are looking to get your health on track, to finally find that solution, go to getvisiblyfit.com and let's start working together. It's the Visibly Fit 7-week accelerator program. I promise your life will be changed for the good, for the long haul. And I can't wait to walk you hand in hand along that journey. So if you have questions, give me a shout out via email at Wendie@wendiepett.com, or otherwise I'll see you. Just go to getvisiblyfit.com and we'll start right away. All right. Blessings to you and make it a great day. Catch you next time.
Well, that's a wrap for today's show. So thank you so much for tuning in. I love spending this time with you. To learn more and get more free resources, just head on over to wendiepett.com. And thank you in advance for sharing this episode and this podcast, following and subscribing, not only to this podcast, but finding me on social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are, I'm probably there too. Until next week and our next podcast time together, make it a visibly fit day.